So everything went well. You completed the talk, the presentation, the podcast guesting, the webinar, the workshop, the meeting, and you got positive feedback. No damage done. Everything's good, except for how you feel. You don't feel good. Let me introduce you to a possible reason why. And it's not my invention. It's called the Impostor cycle. And I've referenced the people on this slide here. Pauline Clance is one of the originators of the imposter phenomenon research. Anyway, here we go. See if this makes sense. So you had your project, your piece of work, whatever it was, and you got on with it. But there was anxiety, there was self-doubt, there was worry involved in this process. And you went down either one of these routes. The perfectionist in you might have over-prepared. You were spending weeks, hours, thinking about it all night, getting more and more worked up about it, and, massively, massively over-egging the pudding here just for one small little talk at a casual event, one little podcast guest on a podcast that you even know the hostess or host of, but you were really going for it and loads of effort. Okay, now let's take the other route. Your anxiety was making you procrastinate and you were putting it off and you kept thinking, I don't know why they've asked me to do this, or I'm not going to be any good at this, or look, I don't want to think about this for a moment. Let me go and do something else. Okay, but you just got it done at the last minute. And like I say, in both cases, you did it, feeling of relief, positive feedback. Oh, what are we doing with that positive feedback? We're ignoring it, pushing it away. Why? Well, because you're feeling like a fake. You've got self-doubt, anxiety, etc. And it's because you either put down this positive feedback to the fact that you made way more effort than you should have needed to, or you got away with it because, frankly, you left it to the last minute. It was just pure luck. So you don't feel good. And guess what? You go on to the next occasion where you've got something to do and you go through the whole thing all over again, because at each point you're not just simply saying, I can do this. I'm going to put in a sensible amount of work to prepare, which is wise. I'm not going to leave it to the last minute. If by any chance I perhaps put in slightly less time than I should have done, I'm not going to beat myself up over it, because look, it was fine. Everyone enjoyed it. They got value from it. It went well. What was needed to be achieved was achieved. I can tell that because I'm now listening to what really matters, which is the effect it had on other people. I've got positive feedback. I think I might own that. Yeah, because of course I put some work in. And in any case, a lot of this was based on my experience over the last year, few years, decades. It wasn't all about me cramming lots of work into preparing for this. Part of this was just me being me. And that's why they'd asked me to do this talk or be this podcast guest or chair this meeting. Oh, yeah. And that's the approach I'm going to take more every time. And it's a habit, and it's breaking default thinking habits. Stop, reflect, pause, get a bit more rational about what's going on here, and just recognize that this thing happens. And recognizing it is the biggest step of all. So, hope that was a little insight, because if you're human, like I am, this will make sense.